Refik Anadol, Vision. Imagine standing before a painting. You see the brushstrokes, the texture of the canvas, the fixed moment in time the artist chose to capture. For centuries, this has been the foundation of our relationship with visual art, a static object, a window into a singular vision. Now, imagine that window shattering. Imagine the frame dissolving and the painting itself spilling out into the room, swirling around you, breathing, reacting, and evolving in real time. This is not a distant science fiction fantasy. This is the world being created right now by the pioneering media artist Refik Anadol. He is a figure who stands at the nexus of art, science, and technology, fundamentally challenging the very definition of what a canvas can be, what a pigment is made of, and what it means to create in the 21st century. Anadol's work doesn't just hang on a wall. It envelops you, it learns, and it dreams. He is the architect of an entirely new artistic paradigm, one where the primary medium is not oil or acrylic, but something far more abstract and infinitely more vast: data. To understand Refik Anadol, you must first discard the traditional image of the artist. He is less a painter and more a director, a conductor of a digital orchestra whose instruments are algorithms and whose musical score is written in the language of raw information. His core philosophy, the revolutionary idea that underpins every one of his breathtaking installations, is that data is not merely a collection of cold, sterile numbers and facts. Instead, he sees data as a pigment, an untapped, expressive material that holds the latent memories, patterns, and dreams of our world. Data as a pigment. He posits that if we can find a way to collaborate with artificial intelligence, we can unlock the hidden aesthetic beauty within these immense datasets. We can transform what was once invisible into something profoundly visible, emotional, and experiential. This is the birth of the data painting, a term Anadol coined to describe his dynamic, ever-changing artworks. Unlike a traditional painting, which is a finished product, a data painting is a living process. It's a continuous flow of information rendered as a cascade of light, color, and form, powered by the ceaseless processing of a machine mind. This concept extends into one of his most powerful ideas, the creation of living archives. Think of a library or a museum archive. It's a static repository of history, a collection of documents and artifacts sitting on shelves. Anadol looks at that same collection, millions of historical documents, thousands of photographs, centuries of recorded knowledge, and asks a profound question. What would it look like if this archive could dream? What if all of that collective human memory could be given a visual, dynamic form? By feeding these archives into his AI models, he creates installations that are not just representations of history, but are active, breathing manifestations of it, a visual, dynamic form. You are literally walking through the subconscious of a culture, seeing the connections and echoes across time that a machine intelligence has discovered. The art breathes because the data it is fed is often live and constantly updating: weather patterns, biometric sensors, internet traffic. The artwork is never the same from one moment to the next, mirroring the perpetual flux of life itself. This radical approach marks a definitive break from the canvas era. The canvas, by its very nature, is a boundary. It's a finite, rectangular surface that contains the art. Anadol's work explodes this limitation. His canvas becomes architecture itself. The facade of a concert hall, the interior of a massive data center, a 360-degree immersive room. These are the new surfaces for his art. The experience is no longer about looking something, it's about being something. When you step into one of his immersive rooms, you are not an observer. You are a participant within the artwork's environment. The separation between viewer and art collapses. The scale is often monumental, designed to overwhelm the senses and create a state of awe, a modern version of the sublime that 18th century painters sought in dramatic landscapes. But here, the sublime is found not in nature's mountains and oceans, but in the infinite, churning ocean of data that defines our modern existence. The separation between viewer and art collapses. This is the heart of his vision, to make the invisible visible, to give form to the formless, and to create a new language of art that speaks to our technologically saturated reality. He is not just creating beautiful images, he is building monuments to our collective memory, powered by the intelligence that will shape our future. Block 2. AI art process. So how does this magic actually happen? How do you transform millions of archival documents or the real-time wind patterns of Boston into a mesmerizing, fluid sculpture of light? The journey from raw data to a breathtaking work of art is a complex and fascinating synthesis of human direction and machine creativity. It begins not with a brush or a chisel, but with a question and an immense act of digital curation. Refik Anadol's first step is to identify and gather a dataset that holds a story. This is a critical artistic choice. The dataset itself becomes the conceptual foundation of the artwork. He has worked with an astonishing variety of sources. 1.7 million documents from the Ottoman State Archives for his piece Archive Dreaming, over 200 million images of nature for Nature Dreams, terabytes of telescopic images from NASA for Machine Hallucinations Space, and even the brainwaves of Alzheimer's patients. Each dataset is a universe of potential. The goal is to find a collection of information rich with latent patterns, hidden narratives, and aesthetic possibilities that a machine can explore. Once this colossal library of information is assembled, it becomes the training ground for his custom-built artificial intelligence models. The primary tool in his arsenal is a sophisticated type of machine learning algorithm known as a Generative Adversarial Network, or GAN. The concept behind a GAN is brilliantly simple and profoundly powerful. It involves two neural networks locked in a competitive duel. Think of it as an artist and a critic. The first network, the generator, is the artist. Its job is to look at the millions of images in the dataset, let's say images of flowers, and try to create a brand new, original image of a flower that could believably belong in that set. The second network, the discriminator, is the critic. Its job is to look at the image created by the generator and decide if it's a real flower from the original dataset or a fake one created by the generator. At first, the generator is terrible, creating messy, abstract blobs. The discriminator easily calls it out. But the generator learns from its failure. It tries again and again millions of times, getting progressively better at fooling the discriminator. In turn, the discriminator gets better at spotting fakes. Two neural networks locked in a competitive duel. This adversarial game forces the generator to become an incredible artist, capable of producing stunningly complex and novel images that are not copies, but entirely new creations inspired by the essence of the original data. This is where Anadol's most famous concept, machine hallucinations, comes into play. When the GAN has been trained, Anadol and his team can then navigate what he calls the latent space, an abstract, multidimensional map of all the possible images the AI has learned to create. Moving through this space is like exploring a dreamscape. The AI isn't just recalling specific images it was shown, it's hallucinating the connections and possibilities those images. It's dreaming up new forms, new textures, and new fluid transformations that a human mind could never conceive. Exploring a dreamscape. This is the translation of pure mathematics into pure poetry. The algorithms become a brush, and the latent space becomes an infinite canvas. It's crucial to understand that Anadol is not a passive observer in this process. He is the director of this dream. He and his team of architects, data scientists, and designers carefully craft the algorithms, select the datasets, and guide the AI's journey through the latent space. Moving through this space is like exploring a dreamscape. The AI isn't just recalling specific images it was shown, it's hallucinating the connections and possibilities those images. It's dreaming up new forms, new textures, and new fluid transformations that a human mind could never conceive. Exploring a dreamscape. This is the translation of pure mathematics into pure poetry. The algorithms become a brush, and the latent space becomes an infinite canvas. It's crucial to understand that Anadol is not a passive observer in this process. He is the director of this dream. He and his team of architects, data scientists, and designers carefully craft the algorithms, select the datasets, and guide the AI's journey through the latent space. They are choreographing the machine's hallucinations, curating the flow of the visual narrative, and making critical aesthetic decisions at every step to shape the final immersive experience. The result is the signature Anadol style, fluid, organic, data-driven visuals that feel both alien and deeply familiar, like watching the birth of a new kind of consciousness. The final step is projecting this digital soul onto the physical world, using custom-designed hardware, massive LED screens, and architectural-scale projectors to turn buildings and rooms into living, breathing data sculptures. Block 3. Future of Canvas. The implications of Refik Anadol's work ripple far beyond the walls of a gallery. They crash against the very foundations of what we consider art to be. For centuries, art has been intrinsically linked to the idea of a permanent, physical object, a unique canvas, a singular sculpture. This object could be bought, sold, and preserved, its value tied to its material existence and scarcity. Anadol's data paintings obliterate this notion. His most significant works are ephemeral, ever-changing, and fundamentally impermanent. An installation powered by real-time climate data will never look the same way twice. Never look the same way twice. How do you own a moment? How do you collect an artwork that is, by its very nature, a continuous process rather than a finished product? This directly challenges the traditional art market and forces us to reconsider how we define artistic value. The value is no longer in the object, but in the experience, the concept, and the system that generates the art. It's a paradigm shift that aligns perfectly with the rise of digital ownership concepts like NFTs, where the certificate of authenticity is separated from a tangible object. But Anadol's vision is even grander, suggesting a future where art is a public utility, an ambient, data-driven layer integrated into our architectural environments. This ushers in the true end of the canvas era. The canvas is no longer a thing you look at, but a space you inhabit. Anadol's work proves that the container for art can be anything: the facade of the Walt Disney Concert Hall, the sprawling interior of the MoMA lobby, or a purpose-built 360-degree room where the art is on the walls, the floor, and perhaps even the ceiling. The viewer is no longer a passive spectator standing at a respectable distance. They are immersed, becoming part of the artwork itself. In some installations, the art is interactive, using sensors to react to the presence and movement of people in the room. React to the presence and movement of people. This transforms the act of viewing art from a one-way communication into a dynamic dialogue. The art sees you as much as you see it. This deepens the experience, making it personal, participatory, and unforgettable. It's a move from representation to simulation, from depiction to immersion. Furthermore, this new paradigm redefines the role of the artist. The romantic image of the lone genius wrestling with their medium in solitude gives way to a new model: the artist as a collaborator, a systems thinker, and a director of a multidisciplinary team. Anadol works with data scientists, neuroscientists, architects, and software developers. His studio is a hybrid of an art workshop and a tech lab. In this context, creativity is not just about a singular vision, but about asking the right questions, curating the right data, and designing the intelligent systems that can explore those questions in novel ways. The human artist is the one who imbues the project with intent, with poetry, and with a conceptual framework. The AI is a new kind of collaborator, a tireless, non-human partner that can perceive patterns in data on a scale impossible for the human mind. It's not a case of human versus machine, but of human-machine. This collaboration doesn't diminish human creativity, it augments it, opening up artistic territories that were previously unreachable. Human with machine. Refik Anadol is offering us a profound glimpse into the future of expression. He is showing us that art can be a living, breathing entity, a mirror reflecting the hidden rhythms of our world, from the data flowing through our cities to the electrical signals firing in our own brains. It's an art form that is not about capturing a moment, but about becoming the moment itself. We are moving from an art of objects to an art of experiences, an art of systems, and an art of consciousness, both human and artificial. The canvas is not just ending, it is expanding to become the world itself.